Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. My name's Chad. Take a dive world of sports. And this video, I'm going to kind of cover three topics, and one's probably going to generate a lot of buzz, probably a lot of hate, and it's not meant that way. It's kind of provide my opinion on a certain subject that has been heatedly talked about since 2 weeks ago. But I want to kind of go over some of the coaching carousels. Open positions still out there, who got hired, what they could mean for other players. Also, retirement. There's been some big news floating around, and we'll kind of cover that one. And then I kind of go over the overtime rules and whether or not should the NFL change them. But before I get into all that one, if you could smash that thumbs up for me, especially like this content. It really please YouTube guys. Help promote this channel. You can also subscribe. I check my analytics. I love you guys reviewing my work, and I love you all for doing that. Now, many of you all subscribe, and this will cost you a dime. It helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now, I'll kind of go with the retirement one first, because this is, I think, the shorter one. Everyone already knows Ben Roethlisberger finally hanged it up after 18 years. You saw him towards the end of this year, especially this year alone. He wasn't very mobile. And he was still making some accurate throws, but he couldn't really escape that well. And it's just his big frame. I mean, he was just a linebacker as a quarterback. I mean, he was huge. And I was a Big Ben fan when he got drafted, and I thought he would do better than the other two, Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers. Well, he's definitely better than Phillip Rivers. I think statistically he's better than Eli. Eli just happened to really, thrive on certain 2 Super Bowl runs where he would knock off Tom Brady. But, they both have their stellar careers in their specific organizations, and they did extremely well. I'm sure both will get in the Hall. I think Phillip Rivers will get there too. But one that was kind of rumored over the weekend and then was shut down. But at the time of recording this video, it is now official. Tom Brady, after 22 years, is finally retiring from football before the age of 45. This is the man that came out late draft pick by Bill Belichick. Definitely was not the prototypic quarterback you normally expect coming out of Michigan. And he blossomed under Belichick's tenure and adapting to his particular play style and creating the juggernaut that is the New England Patriots and taking them to 6 Super Bowl titles. And not to mention then leaving there and going down to Tampa Bay and duplicating that again in his first year there. So the man has 7 rings. 7. See, I only got 2. And these are not even, championship rings. And he went to 10 Super Bowls. I mean, this man is the GOAT. No matter if you hate him or love him, what he has done will never, ever be duplicated again. I foresee that he's going to be on the echelon of pure eliteness of when it comes to playing the game. Now, statistically, he's also up there because he played for so long, so it's going to be another hard thing for people to break. But nobody thought Marino things would do it, or Breeze or Peyton Manning. So you got all those quarterbacks have done extremely well with really high potent offenses. So, but he will always be the face of the NFL forever. Much like Wayne Gretzky is the NHL, Michael Jordan is for the NBA. Major League Baseball is really kind of hard to really kind of go at, but I think everyone still puts Babe Ruth there. You could probably throw Mickey Mantle. He was another great one. Congrats, Tom Brady and Big Ben, for your outstanding years of football. And now these teams have to look for a replacement quarterback, and good luck trying to replace those icons and those iconic franchises. I mean, it didn't work so well for Cam Newton up in New England, and that's why he got replaced by Mac Jones. I have a feeling whoever's going to be the Tampa Bay quarterback, it's not going to last very long. Whoever's a Pittsburgh quarterback may find success, but I doubt that as well. And let's start going over some of these coaching hires. I mean, there's been a few of them that have been hired already. Denver ended up hiring the Packers OC Hackett to take over. So a lot of people kind of looking at this as like, especially if you look at what he's done with Aaron Rodgers up in Green Bay, how they'll implement that type of offense. Does that mean that the Denver Broncos now looking for a new quarterback? Maybe Aaron Rodgers. For the Bears, they hired Ryan Pauls as the new GM that replaced Ryan Pace, and then they hired a Colts defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. So you go from Matt Nagy to Matt Eberflus, Ryan Pace to Ryan Pauls. You kind of see, a lot of Bears fans are kind of looking at this. So we're trading one Ryan and Matt for another Ryan and Matt. You go from an offensive-minded coach to the defensive-minded coach. So, I can see why a lot of people are getting a little, in Chicago, getting a little weary about this particular one, because how does a defensive coach really help Justin Fields become the next quarterback? And then when they hired their offensive coordinator, they took the quarterback's coach out of Green Bay to kind of take over. So Luke Getsy, the former Green Bay Packers quarterback coach, to run the offense. So they kind of look at maybe taking a little bit that Aaron Rodgers-ness that was in Green Bay. Hopefully, you can try to instill it in Justin Fields. We'll kind of see how that one goes. But definitely has Bears fans kind of shaking their heads, trying to figure out why they went a defensive-minded coach to help develop a offensive stud coming out of college. But then the Raiders got Josh McDaniels returned back to the NFL coaching ranks, going back to AFC West, and where he's going to take the reins with Derek Carr, which I think is a very fine quarterback, and should take that team to the next level. They definitely performed extremely well under all the circumstances surrounding this franchise, with two of their receivers have to be cut because one involved in an accident, a fatal accident, another one kind of doing some questionable post. And then the head coach being forced out due to emails, things that Josh Daniels have to look at to kind of get things rolling. Peyton announced he is done coaching. He's taking a year off before going there, and automatically the rumors will start flying that he's going to Dallas. As of right now, there's no change in Dallas. McCarthy's still there. Dan Quinn's not going anywhere either. Jerry Jones kind of opened up his pocketbook and ensured that their defensive coordinator sticks around. More likely telling McCarthy is you better get this thing going or Quinn's going to take over. Now, I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So it's probably not Sean Payton, but I think it's going to be Dan Quinn. And then for the Giants, they got rid of Joe Judge. I think Aaron Rodgers' comments really hampered his tenure there with the G-Men. And they brought in the offensive coordinator from Buffalo, Brian Doble, to really kind of see if they can really vitalize Daniel Jones. The owner really has put in faith in Daniel Jones for, I think, 1 year, and see how this kind of goes from here. So he's definitely going to be on probably a short leash, but I think Adabo, after what he did in Buffalo, if he duplicate that with the Giants, is going to make the East a whole lot tougher. Minnesota's still looking for a head coach. I think right now they're looking at Jim Harbaugh. The Michigan head coach is looking at possibly interviewing for this position. The Vikings are still looking at, the following coordinators. Ty Bowles out of Tampa Bay, Kellen Moore from the Dallas, Kevin McConnell, DOC from the Rams, the Eagles, DC's Jonathan Gannon, the 49ers, DC, DeMarco Ryans, and the Rams, Raheem Morris. So they got definitely a lot of people to kind of looking at to kind of replace Zimmer, who was a decent head coach. So Miami, I think, is really, really good. I think that's the one that's on the cusp of making the playoffs very shortly. So you're probably going to look for a more offensive-minded coach. I think why they need OCs of Mike McDaniel from 49ers and Kellen Moore out of Dallas. They're probably the top two. They're also looking at the DCs from Arizona's Vance Johnson and Bill's Leslie Frazier. Then Jacksonville has a lot of things. They've looked at Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson. These are former head coaches, so I would think the Jaguars should probably go after Doug Peterson. I think he's probably the best one. They looked in-state with Todd Boyles. Then went down to college and looked at Bill O'Brien. Have him return. I think if I was the Jags, I would definitely not look at this guy. Look what he did with the Texans. And then the former Broncos head coach, Vic Fangio, another defensive-minded coach. But I think with the Jaguars, you're probably going to look for one that's a little more on the offensive side and really kind of help develop Trevor Lawrence. Right now, the Saints are still in the process of trying to find their candidates for their position. So it's really kind of unique to kind of how to look at this. And I think the Texans are looking really hard at Josh McCown as their head coach. Try to, tap that other, quarterback that has lots of years of experience, not really playing as much, but seems behind the scenes basically. And we're probably looking for that a la Doug Peterson. Now we had to probably going to be the most controversial spot in this video, and one that probably going to generate a lot of feedback and probably some condemnation, maybe some alienation, maybe some frustration, exuberation. This is the NFL overtime rules. This all stemmed from the AFC Divisional Game between Buffalo and Kansas City, which was an overtime, and then Kansas City won the toss, and then scoring the game-winning touchdown. And social media just went ablaze with this aspect, and especially on Twitter, which I'm on, and I didn't get involved in those conversations because it's just some of the arguments being made, I think, was just wrong. But let's give a little contents to this. The NFL overtime rules before this was sudden death, period. Doesn't matter what you scored. You could take forever and just watch that field and set up a game-winning field goal. That was it. Then when college football implemented their overtime rules to kind of alleviate the ties in the regular season, they eliminated the kickoffs altogether and started going, hey, you start at 25, and there you go. And then the other team has the opportunity to match what you did. And then later on, they revamped the current system of first overtime. Each team gets a possession. You must, match whatever the other team did or do better to win. And if the second overtime, if they're still tied, you go second overtime. You do touchdowns, you must go for 2. If you're still tied after the second, then you go to a third plus. After that, you're exchanging 2-point tries. Which, all the people I follow around or see on YouTube and all that stuff hate it because they, labor it as a shootout, which is basically what it is. That's basically what college football's overtime rules are anyways, is a shootout. So, this, just put that out there right now. So, for me, I always thought college football needs to have it where you still bring back the ties in the regular season. I really do. So that way, you still give them a 10-minute quarter, and go, here you go. You still give them both, each possession like you already have in college football. But if they end up being tied after 10, that's it. That's just me. But when the NFL implemented their changes to the overtime rule, there was a push to match college football's initial overtime setup, where each team gets a possession. And NFL wanted to separate itself more from college in this aspect, much like, the 2 feet in bounds instead of one. And they decided that no, okay, we'll go with each team has possession, unless the first possession resulted in a touchdown, either offense or defense. Once that happens, the game's over. But if they get a field goal, it gives the other team a chance to match it. Now, with that being said, initially, I didn't quite like that, but seeing that you don't always see that. It's actually kind of rare seeing the first team, possession go for a touchdown. But, let's go back, recap back to, that AFC Divisional game. And after that, people just like the coin toss and determine who wins the game. It does determine who wins the game. It determines who has possession first. Now, from there, it is up to the defense to make the stop on the offense. Thus, that rule they hear in the beginning, the first team scored a touchdown, either offense or defense, wins the game. If that doesn't result, then the other team will get a possession. And then if you're still tied, it's sudden death. I'm not sure what really needs to transpire to really get people to kind of understand that aspect. I'm not sure. And I think the vast majority of people that are screaming about the coin toss never played the game. But I also think they want to see more of the Mahomes-Allen showdown, because those last 2 minutes of that game, 25 points were scored, which was an NFL record, and they want to see more of it. As a fan, I wanted to see more of that. I wish that was the Super Bowl. Give me a best-of-7 series with those two teams going at it, and I think everyone will love it. And it was like both defenses at the end of that game were gassed anyway, so it didn't matter. If Allen would have won the toss, they would have scored. But I think there's an underlining thing here, because I didn't hear this much uproar when, New England and Tom Brady did it in the Super Bowl against Atlanta, 3 years ago in the AFC Championship Game, where the Patriots did it to Patrick Mahomes. And in the offseason, after that loss, that Chiefs actually put forth, hey, each team should get a possession. Regardless, it gives you a chance to match. Then you go sudden death. The league rejected that, and now we're back to it. Now it comes full circle. The Chiefs do it, and everyone's complaining. I don't know if they're complaining because it wasn't Josh Allen that did it, or the fact that Patrick Mahomes did it. Like I said, I didn't hear that much complaining about Tom Brady doing it. I'm sure there was, but it was as much as it was after the divisional round. It was just everywhere, and it just everyone wanted to talk about it and say how dumb it was, but no one had an idea how to implement a good measure. Because like I said, the college rule, no, that one needs to change. It really does. You take away special team kickoffs. That could be, they could have a kickoff return for a touchdown. That's exciting. And then, then bring back ties in college football. It doesn't happen that often in NFL, so unless you're the Steelers and like to tie the Lions. But it's just one of these things. I think that for the NFL side, I think it's fine because it's a team sport. If you want to have a possession, Team A must stop Team B from scoring a touchdown in the first possession to be able to ensure Team A ensures they have a chance to either tie or win it on their own first possession. But then everyone start complaining or start comparing it with other sport leagues. You can't do that. Each league has its own identity, its own special ways, its own uniqueness. You're comparing apples to oranges to pears to bananas. Each fruit has their own benefits for you. Like each sport has its own benefits for you. If you look at baseball, I mean, it's how it's set up with innings. The visitor gets on the bat first for 3 outs, and they switch to the home team and get 3 outs in the bottom of the inning. And you go into 10th, and it's tied. Even if the visitors score 4 runs in top of the 10th, the home team will get their chance to either match those 4 runs or get the 5th run. Or if they go in, they're still tied in the bottom of the 10th, the home team doesn't have to have all 3 outs. They just get that one swing with no outs, hit a walk-off home run, and that's it. Basketball, they play a full quarter. Not really full quarter, but they play a quarter to determine. And if that's still tied, they keep going. Hockey, they do the exact same thing. They play an extra, 5 minutes in regular season, 3-on-3 hockey, and it's actually a full quarter in the playoffs, a full period. But there's a sudden death. But because I think somebody brought that up to, and it's like, well, it's not determined by coin toss. It's all about skill, by getting the face off and all that. True, but you still have to play defense to prevent the puck from going in. I think the NHL needs to revamp theirs to a 10-minute period, 4-on-4 in the regular season. I really think NHL needs to bring back to ties. That's just me. I guess I'm old school like that. And in the NFL system, I don't mind it. It's a team sport. If you want to, your possession in overtime, stop the other team from scoring or hold them to 3 points. That gives you opportunity for your offense to get on there to either match the score or a chance to win. I think that's simple enough, but I really think the ones that are really pushing this are just saying it's not fair. It's not right. Both teams should have a chance. But I think it's the exact same format. It's life's unfair. Things happen. Either to you or someone you care about deeply. That you have to accept the challenge and find ways to battle it, regardless how hard it is, and how you see certain things maybe affect the person you care about. You have to move on and continue on like that. Same thing, with these overtime rules in the NFL. It's if you don't want to prevent, if you don't want that offense to score that first possession touchdown, stop them. Plain and simple. Same thing for NHL. If you don't want them to score the goal, stop them. Poke check it, hit them on the boards, intercept the pass. The goalie will make a great save. Basketball, you have to just outscore them and play defense when you have to. Baseball, your pitcher has to be on point, and your hitters have to hit that ball just right to put it in play, to get on base, or your slugger finds that sweet spot, and then it's out of there. It is the way it is. The same thing with soccer. You have to get the right play to get the right your star player to get that right kick in there to just curve that ball just right over the goalie. For me, I don't think the overtime rules there's anything wrong with them. They're actually I think it's very competitive because it gives you another layer to have to worry about, to provide a little extra excitement. You want to see the defense step up and make a play. Because that divisional game, both defenses are gassed, so it doesn't really matter who had first possession. Someone's going to score on the first possession touchdown. Because you look at the AFC Championship Game, Chiefs won the toss again, but still lost the game. Because why? Defense showed up. I think, that's what it is. I mean, it's a, like I said, it's a team sport, and I've said it quite a few times already in this video, and I'm going to say it again. It's a team sport. It's a team effort to win a game, either offense, special teams, and defense. Somebody has to step up and make a play. Happened, in the AFC Championship game, the Bengals, the defensive backs, made a play. AFC Divisional game, Patrick Mahomes stepped up. Travis Kelce stepped up to make those plays. You look at Cincinnati, it's McPherson, shooter, is making those plays. So that's my take. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of interaction with this one, and please, you go and keep it, civilized, and just be civil to each other. I understand we all have our passion about this particular topic. I'd like to see some changes, some things kind of get revamped. And if you have a better solution, you comment down below, and we'll have a discussion about this. And if we get enough discussion going on about this, I'll probably do a follow-up video for this one as well to kind of see, hey, who, which version looks the best. I kind of, put, pen to paper and look how, come up with, a way to be able to display it to you guys. Also, what do you think about the retirement? Do you think Aaron Rodgers might follow his offensive coordinator out to Denver, or will he take another NFC team? Maybe he goes out to San Francisco. A team he can't beat in the playoffs. Maybe he joins them and goes. And that's a possibility. I mean, he went to school out there. He grew up a 49er fan. Why not? But hey, just let me know down below what you think. You can also share this, especially if you think my take on certain topics are very informative and entertaining. You like to share with your friends or family, no problem. You can also subscribe. Once you subscribe, get that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.